GPL 嘛，那他们的打也非常强，所以我们必须要非常小心，不要被他杀了。
Levi is a monster, and they're defending. Here we go. The kickback with the knockup. Sneak is gone already.
我跟 GN 的 Levi 学了很多东西，就我觉得他是一位打法很独特的玩家，然后我觉得他很多地方是我值得学习的。
I honestly thought that we wouldn't make it out of groups because the team was formed last minute, but everyone played well.
Southeast Asia breaks the base open, and they will be 2-1 on the day.
일단 바텀레인 입장에서는 중국 바텀레인이 제일 지금 그 올스타에서 제일 강하다고 생각을 하고요.
Helping to get that fight in line. Locked down by the Solar Flare. BRTT is trying to clear the sun out of his eyes as Mako picks up that kill. And bot lane's looking much better for the Chinese All-Stars.
그래서 이제 저희 바텀라인 입장에서는 중국이 되게 강해 보이긴 해서 그래서 이제 좀 저희는 중국을 좀 일찍 만나기 싫었는데 네, 좀 상황 만나게 됐으니.
4强能碰到韩国队，对我来说我觉得无所谓吧，因为想要拿冠军的话，就每个对手都得击败的。
Welcome back for day 3 of the 2017 All-Star event. The fans have arrived to show their support for the remaining All-Stars in attendance as things here are winding down the last couple days. A couple unhappy Equifox fans in the crowd I just saw. But earlier we had the pros from Southeast Asia prepping for their match up against the LMS. A big one there, a grudge match to say the least. Meanwhile, FLICKR staring down the barrel of a surprisingly difficult semi-final matchup against the Chinese All-Stars. Hello everyone, I'm James Dash Patterson, and my All-Star team is still looking for a fifth to challenge Sunday's champions. Hit me up if you'd like to join myself, Indiana Frostker and Black Martin, Fisher Lunga, and Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler. What role do we need?
A mid.
We need a mid.
We
need a solid
mid
laner.
Kobe, so we actually need 2 people.
Yeah, okay, actually 2 people. We need a new jungler and a mid. Before we jump into the Dream Team semifinals, let's get a reminder of how the 1v1 shook out. Just last night, Bjergsen and Jisu promoted to the semifinals, and we'll duke it out in a best-of-3 later today. Then the ADC superstars in Uzi and Prey will meet on Howling Abyss to round out the day.
And I gotta say, I am such a fan of Jisu and the way he's playing it. It's not,
you are.
no farming for 100 CS. He learned this in Europe when he was on the Mysterious Monkeys. It's just like pick an all-in champion, Olaf Pantheon. Maybe a Garen comes in later and just go for that kill.
I mean, meanwhile, Bjergsen, the exact opposite approach, right? Going for those CS leads. I mean, he's staring down Uzi, right? Bjergsen had the title. Uzi takes it the following year. Uzi's looking to defend it as well.
And that's the thing, you know, Jisu, he's hot and heavy right now, but at the end of the day, we all know who's going to walk away with the trophies. It's the guys taking it seriously. It's the Bjergsens and probably the Uzis.
Yeah, everybody knows Uzi's the tryhard. Calm down a little bit. Gotta ease into it.
We got a whole day ahead of us, Deficio.
I'm gonna keep the energy going.
Keep some in the tank. Keep some gas in the tank. To get some insight on the skill and focus, though, that was demanded from Prey and Reckless in their 1v1 match, we decided to pull the audio in this special edition of Mic Check.
I'm gonna lose.
Lose Garen versus Garen? You are more buff than me, bro. You're a big boy. Big biceps. You know biceps?
No.
This one? Biceps.
Ah.
You have a big one.
No. I'm just a bad guy.
No.
No muscle.
No.
Good luck on next stage. Versus
You too.
Uzi.
No, you. I don't want to play. If I win, I give you win, okay? I know Uzi will not want to play for fun. Uzi play for win.
Yeah, Uzi play for win.
Yeah. Uzi.
It's so scary, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Control 1 and control 3.
Okay.
Go 3. Control 3.
This dance is so cute.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck, man.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Oh!
I'm coming. Yeah!
Maybe you can kill me now.
I'm coming.
I know.
What? Fire!
No!
I'm rooting for Prey today. I just want to have Prey in the finals. He's definitely going to have fun.
He was having a ton of fire! And actually a very stylish finish there, actually. Like the early ignite and then the flash finish under turret. So impressive play out of Prey, to say the least. As we enter the later parts of the Dream Team tournament, though, it's important to acknowledge our dedication to heightening the level of competition. And as a result, the Western shit has been cut. First up, we've got a best of 3 between the LMS and Southeast Asia. Then there's a battle between Titans as the LPL take on Korea. And both of these matches are littered with juicy revenge plotlines.
And you said it, the name of the game is revenge. It's big brother versus little brother, because once upon a time, the LMS said, GPL, you are not good enough. Get out of our league. We separated them, and now the GPL, Southeast Asia, they have the opportunity to take down the LMS and prove once for all that they deserve a seat at the big kids table.
I mean, a lot of it is due to Levi here, though. I mean, the GPL, they had such an explosive performance and surprised so many people. He's stealing Barons, he's kicking enemy carries into the team, and he's really creating a lot of excitement.
It's a young Kobe 24 for sure on the side of GPL right there. I think the small players also doing really well on the team. Like Krada in the support role was actually super fun with Leona. I also think Jisu up in the top lane. I already talked about him before. He is actually playing well, and that Sion performance was pretty spot on.
There you have it. Deficio clearly has a favorite team in this tournament here now that EU's been knocked out.
Hey, I'm not biased at all. I just
On the other
GPL.
side of the bracket, though, in the Dream Team matchup, you've got LPL versus Korea. Many predicted this to be the All-Star final, and yet here they are, meeting in the semis.
Yeah, this is a classic LCK throw in group stages to knock us out in semifinals, but I have faith that the LPL, this is going to be another Rift Rivals. And we all know what happened the last time these two teams met at a tournament that didn't necessarily hold many stakes.
Well, I mean, I'm a little bit nervous still for LPL because I feel like Korea going into the best of 3 here. They've already lost 1 game, so a little bit mad about that one. Like, it could be a different beast showing up.
Yeah, I have to say, best of series, Korea is always a very different look to them, so I definitely have a lot of confidence in those.
Really, best of 3? I mean, I understand like the best of 5 argument, but
Best of anything.
Best
I'd be like,
of
yeah,
anything.
Korea.
Best of League of Legends, it's Korea.
That best of 1
Very
wasn't
much
looking
so,
too hot.
very much so. All right, well, looking back at that first matchup, though, LMS versus Southeast Asia, which team do you think is going to be the first one to move on and compete in the finals?
Even though I'm a sucker for storylines, I really do think that it's still going to be the LMS. I mean, I think the Big Brother is going to triumph here. I said it at the very beginning. This is an LMS super team, and the only question mark we had was around Bebe. And this guy shows up and he gets a pentakill on Jhin. So best in all of the roles. Bebe's having another great tournament all the way back like season 2. I think they're going all the way.
Levi alone is making this GPL team a super team, and I think he's been the best performing player during this tournament. I think actually the other members have also surprised me quite a lot, not names we are used to seeing here on the international stage, and the surprise factor in these games will be big. I think GPL will take 2-1.
I mean, I'm a huge Levi fan, but I have to say, I have a little brother, and he has never beaten me at anything. So
Anything at all.
I also have to go.
I have
with the older
a little brother,
here.
and he has beaten me at so many things.
There we go,
So
GPL.
I don't know if that argument holds a ton of weight there, Kobe.
Regardless, though, even if Levi, is the star, and obviously he's going to be a big playmaker, Karsa has been fantastic at this tournament. I think he would have a
He's
word
no
with
Levi,
you.
though. He's no Levi.
He's definitely not Levi. They're two different people. But he had a Kha'Zix game. He went legendary. And I definitely do have a lot of faith in the LMS squad because they're playing as a team. They're coming in and trying to execute, more standard strategies, which, should prevail.
A familial face-off, if you will. Now, as we kick off today's games, let's make sure to answer our Twitter question of the day. Who is the best player at the All-Star event so far, and why? Tweet to @LOL Esports with the hashtag All-Star2017, and we'll check in later on in the show. Before we throw it over to Quickshot and Ezreal, Ziv shared his thoughts on his team's run so far.
我觉得最主要原因应该是在于我们的 Jungle 跟 Support， 因为他们就是其实同一个队伍非常久，然后整个游戏的节奏或者是战术主导都是他们2个人在指挥，所以我觉得就是我们3个人的话，就是听他们指挥的话，就进行游戏就非常顺畅，所以应该是他们2个的功劳。
It's great to hear some honesty about who's leading the way on the LMS squad. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Battle Arena. I'm Trevor Quickshot Henry. And though tears were shed, I've reclaimed my spot as play-by-play after Isaac Ezelkaming's Bentley had a stint there yesterday. But they were not tears of joy.
Best.
They were not tears of joy.
They were not? Okay, okay.
Deficio, he stepped up his play-by-play game, but I think you can catch up to.
Yeah. Well, we'll put in some work.
We'll put
grind
in some work.
hours,
We'll give you a few shots today. Base banners, they are drawn for our first match of the day. It is LMS taking on the Stars from Southeast Asia. Let's quickly meet the players. Starting on the blue side, it is the LMS with Ziv in the top lane, Karsa in the jungle, FoFo in the mid lane, Bebe, bot lane support SwordArt, and their coach, Steak.
Going to be a lot of jungle attention, I think, from both teams this game, because facing them on the red side, it's Southeast Asia. In the top lane, Jisu. It's going to be Levi, that superstar in the jungle, mid laner. It's your boy Patrick, the bot and support. Going to be Dantiz and Kra with Coach Omo.
You know, we've talked a lot about the junglers, and I'm going to zero in on them a little more because obviously, as a team, GPL has surprised the individual players. They weren't even the ones voted in. They've all stepped up, but they've all kind of rallied behind Levi, who's led the way in many of the games.
Yeah, and you've got to say that it's not just about Levi, it's about the region as a whole, it's about the Gigamite Marines. They have been proving themselves internationally this entire year. People were doubting them coming into MSI, doubting them coming into Worlds. The GPL is here to stay, and this is a team that was scrapped together last second.
Yeah.
They're taking down some of the top teams. They were even challenging China, and here they are now in the semifinals with a chance to go to the finals. And yes, of course, a lot of it is because of Levi and his incredible performances, and I'm going to be very excited to see if he can carry once again from the jungle.
It's exciting to see that everybody else stepped up as well. There's a few players from the GPL regions talking about how these, non-voted members who have replaced the Vietnamese squad that's meant to be here have surprised on the international stage. Let's see if they can surprise again. Their opponents, the Big Brother, the LMS, the story, the analyst has hit really, really hard. They've been led by Karsa. I mean, Karsa, I'm going to say single-handedly destroyed the LCK squad. His Kha'Zix was amazing. And of course, FoFo as well, no slouch either.
Yeah, and Karsa is such a big name. He has been there for a really long time. There's going to be a lot of focus on him, but you have to say, this last year for Karsa was not nearly as strong as it had been historically. And for the last couple years, the LMS has been on a downward trend. That is why people did not expect a lot from these guys coming in, but it seems like the meta is really fitting Karsa. He's always been an incredible, aggressive jungler, and having him back on form means that the LMS was able to take down Korea, and they are the favorites, you have to think, going towards the finals.
They're always the favorites, Ezreal. And of course, not only has Karsa stepped up in the LMS squad, but also Bebe is a guy who's not had stellar local performances. And one of the things we were talking a lot about off air was how there's the 2-player per team limit.
Yep.
And what that does to the voting habits, because of course, we just heard from Ziv saying, hey, we listen to the guys, they play together. There's that support network when you've got two guys from the same team. And that's what allowed FoFo to show up. FoFo Zoe's been terrifying. Do you think he gets his hands on it?
I don't think so. I think he was too good on it in the 2 games for him to really see it again, unless you have a specific matchup counter, right? If you're very confident that you can beat it with a Kassadin or run it back on the Malzahar and play it better than some people did before. If there's something you have prepared, then sure, maybe you let it through, but with something that's already good against Zoe being the first ban for LMS, that to me is like, hey, we want to play Zoe, and that's going to be taken off the table immediately by Southeast Asia.
And we've seen the Ornn and the Ezreal being the top-tier red side bans throughout the majority of the group stages. What else are we going to see? I mean, Xerath still up and available. Sejuani's been a pick that's shone through us. So is Jarvan, actually, because we've seen him banned out a couple times, too.
Yeah, I do think that Xerath is pretty high priority as far as picks and bans go. It's a little bit of a different playstyle, but it can be very effective in both mid and in bot at support. With Comet, it's such a strong pokey champion. And it's really just going to depend what kind of matchups you're comfortable with, because you cannot ban everything out. MF is big. Now there's Xerath, there's Ezreal, there's Jarvan, there's Sejuani, there's even things like Kha'Zix and Nocturne and all these aggressive junglers that you kind of have to worry about as well. And you cannot ban it all out. So it's a kind of pick and choose.
Now, I wanted to see Bebe playing Kleptomancy Ezreal with the TPA skin. The skin that he earned back in the Season 2 finals. It is up, it is available. Please make it happen. Let's see if they lock it in. If not, it has to be a high priority option for SEA.
Certainly could be. A little bit surprised, I have to say, by the first pick, Ryze, that high of a priority on this champion. Yes, it is still a strong champion, especially if you are looking to kind of pair up with your jungler. Ryze sets up ganks so well for these aggressive junglers. Point-and-click root is amazing if you're going to be playing something like Kha'Zix. Locking down the enemy mid laner does not give you much of a chance to escape, but already the Kha'Zix is going to be picked away by Levi, and I'm really interested to see what Karsa is going to go for. Will he go to something like the Sejuani as you had talked about, or is he going to kind of match Levi blow for blow? Because if you go carry versus carry and one person gets ahead, it can be lights out for the other jungle.
Karsa did play Lee Sin as well as Sejuani earlier in the group stage, and of course for Levi, his Kha'Zix doing 3, 1, and 4 when he played that a couple days ago. To round out the first rotation here for the GPL representatives, it will be Alistar locked in for Kra. Once again, kind of that front line. He's played Leona and Shen, so likes to be those more engaged frontline style champions.
Yeah, and while Comet and Poke is really popular from support, Hard Engage is very strong as well. Aftershock, Guardian, these masteries have been so powerful coming from the bot lane, and I also think that Alistar and the CC can be very strong into someone like Ryze, because this is a mid to short range mage, is someone who has to be up in your face in the team fight and who can be very vulnerable to the CC, and you might just get your dream. It's looking like it's going to be the Bebe Ezreal.
If he does not use the TPA skin,
Gonna have to report this guy.
I think we're gonna have to. We'll have to get the refs in and actually make some sort of change here. But yes, I cannot believe in the game 1 of the semi-final. Yeah, Ezreal, Sejuani, Ryze. I really like what LMS are putting together here. I think there's great power, multiple stages. You've got a great front line already, and the answer is Sivir. What do you make of this so far?
Well, I think it makes a lot of sense. Sivir, one of the ways you can kind of deal with Ezreal is simply shoving him in. You have the spell shield to deal with some of the Q poke, and if you can keep your men up, you can kind of control the lane, push it in. You have the Sivir ultimate to actually speed up the Kha'Zix, the Alistar to push in for this sort of engage, but I do think Ezreal makes quite a lot of sense as an answer to Alistar as well, because you can have the phase shift, you can avoid some of this, and you can really look to absorb that, kind of kite it back, have the Sejuani as your front line, and already a pretty strong core for both teams.
Do slightly different things, but it'll be exciting to see where this next phase of picks and bans goes through. SwordArt had his Leona taken away. Let's start theorizing, what does Patrick want to lock in? I mean, Xerath is still open and available. You can kind of keep your eyes at arm's length. But what other options are there for him? Patrick has played the Malzahar and the Ryze. Malzahar's banned, Ryze is already picked.
Yeah, Malzahar is banned, Ryze is taken away. There are things like you can go for a LeBlanc, you can even go Cassio. People used to like playing that matchup quite a bit, and Cassiopeia still can be very strong. We have seen still the long-range mages, things like Vel'Koz, which is getting taken away, but Xerath as answers as well. I do think even some assassins can be quite strong in the preseason. I've seen quite a bit of things like Katarina. So I think there are a lot of options on the table. It just depends, what is the team style going to be? Do you want to commit to multiple assassins, multiple people jumping in? Because if you're not drafting some sort of a control mage, then you're already very committed to an all-in style with the Sivir ultimate, with the Kha'Zix, and with this sort of play.
Well, one control mage banned away. There goes the Xerath as well as the Vel'Koz. There's actually 2 technically, I guess. The fact that Patrick has got a teleport in his summoner spell, maybe that indicates something like a LeBlanc that you could play with TP?
Certainly possible. You also can obviously swap it up. I do think that Kassadin actually quite strong in preseason. That's another good answer here against the Ryze. Kassadin generally fares quite well in AP versus AP matchups. Most people taking Airy these days. Teleport works pretty well. You can kind of poke him out with the Q. But one of the big issues here is the really low wave clear for Kassadin. So if you can actually push them in, as the Ryze is known to do, if your side lanes start losing, your mid is going to get sieged very early on. So it's extremely important for Sivir, for Alistar, to hold their own in the bottom lane, because if Ezreal and Janna show up early to mid lane, Kassadin really has no answer to that siege, and the turret could be going down quickly.
And that will just unlock LMS to allow Karsa to roam, invade, take control of the GPL jungle. Let's see if they can defend the towers. Janna is the phase 2 lock-in here for LMS. There was a hover on Camille. Now, Jisu, of course, has been playing the carry style all tournament. He's played 1 tank in Sion. Then he's had Jace, Camille. Jace is open, and he's obviously played some interesting ones in those 1v1.
Kennen also available. People have been expecting Spellbook Kennen for a lot of this tournament. It's a very strong answer to Gnar if you wanted to go for it. But it's going to be Akali. Ooh, I like it. We're getting some spice in the first match of the semifinals here at All Stars. And Akali is not something we have been seeing in competitive for quite a long time, but for quite some time, at least even in North America, some of the tops have been practicing it, feeling like it was pretty viable. The early stages for Akali famously can be pretty rough. Yes, you can use the Shroud defensively to try to keep yourself around, but really you don't have many options pre-6. Once you hit 6, once you have those ultimates that have the dash charges, you can start really going aggressive onto someone like this Gnar, and we could see Levi playing around it because there's so many dashes that Gnar can not really escape from a very strong Akali. But if you get behind, you start being pretty worthless, and you're picking it into a Janna as well, which is going to disengage you in the team fight.
Ezreal, that's the whole comp.
Yeah.
Kassadin,
Go in.
Kha'Zix, Akali, Sivir. If you get behind on those champions, you're donezo.
I mean, it's triple assassins with a speed up and an engage, right? Like, this is very heavily go in, but they also have ways to win through split push. Kassadin and Akali 1-3-1. You have a relatively strong 3-man squad who can hold mid lane with the Sivir wave clear.
Yes.
So I think they have actually thought through a lot of the options. I will say though, as far as a straight up 5v5, unless SEA is very far ahead, the LMS comp is just way too solid. I don't think that you can beat that team in a straight up 5v5. I think you have to spread the map. I think you have to get picks.
And it's going to be so difficult dealing with this Janna. If everything has to jump in and they use their dashes and Janna just like, get dunked, mate. We saw how powerful Janna was at Worlds. Let's see whether or not LMS and SwordArt can use it to the same effect. Ladies and gentlemen, it's LMS taking on Southeast Asia and the GPL. Go ham or go home.
It's TPA
yes,
skin, baby.
I got exactly what I wanted when I heard Bebe was voted in. TPA Ezreal skin with Kleptomancy. Yes. All right, let's see how this works out now.
This is going to be very, very interesting. So certainly super aggressive masteries when you're looking at SEA. Double electrocute, so domination for both Levi and Jisu. We do have Patrick actually deciding to take Comet. So that is a bit more atypical, but you still can hit confirm with your E because that is a slow onto the Ryze, which will allow you to get that down. But I do think a lot of this is going to be about how the early game goes for SEA. You have very little safe wave clear outside of the Sivir, so if you do fall behind, if the Akali and the Kassadin are getting sieged on, it's going to be bad. But at the same time, if you can get going and get out to those side lanes as the Assassins, one of the best champions from the jungle to actually assist in that split push is the Kha'Zix. Because if anyone tries to come in and 1v1 you, the Kha'Zix can be right there. You can knock them down and start taking turrets.
All right, Levi versus Karsa then. Let's keep our eyes. That was our featured matchup coming into it, see what impact they can have. Obviously, Levi's going to have slightly more options in the early game, as you've mentioned, Ezreal. And we saw how powerful that stealth can be over the last 2 days. Defensive starts here. Both squads, I mean, Bebe's pushing up in that minion line. Gonna have a couple extra seconds.
Yeah.
Won't really do a whole lot to change the impact. We'll see if Dantiz and Gnar actually miss any CS by the time they get there.
So what they're trying to do here, it looks like in the bot lane, is just get a really early push going. If you can actually zone them off the mini wave, then it's so much more annoying playing against this Ezreal because, as you can see, Dantiz and Gnar are going to kind of have to sit back. The Alistar doesn't really have much to add at level 1 until you're getting level 2, level 3. You really can't do a lot. So they're trying to maintain the push, shove them under turret, and try to poke out your opponents under that turret. If Sivir and Alistar can control the wave, though, you can negate a lot of that. So that's why it was so important for them to really just be sitting here in lane and get that early push.
All right, we'll keep an eye on the next few minutes then, see whether or not the plan works out. Already the race to level 2 heavily in favor of Bebe. SwordArt, Dantiz, and Gnar paying a lot of respect. Not even an XP range for these last few minions.
Yeah, this is actually pretty interesting too. So SwordArt is starting Spell Thieves and W. There are some builds where you actually go pretty heavily into AP Janna, like you're actually getting an early Frostfang. You can max W for the harass, and he is playing Airy, but you can go even more extreme with Comet to hit confirm that. But like, look at the damage. It's actually pretty high. People don't consider Janna to be one of those aggressive champions, but when you're playing against someone who cannot retaliate, you can actually go for these W maxes and see what you can get done in lane.
I like that. Ranged into melee. If they can't hit back, just keep slapping them. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Definitely the older brother, younger brother discussion continues even in game.
Ooh, Levi's got to run because the collapse is coming in from Ziv and FoFo's coming up.
Permafrost from Karsa bought a lot of time. Leap over the wall, followed through with the flash and the leap. Levi continues to run. Here comes FoFo. Double buffs available. FoFo not going to pick up first blood because it's Ziv that does with a boomerang.
Yeah, Levi getting pretty aggressive there, but when both of your lanes are being pushed in, you can't get out on the map like that. You can't be that far up, and the collapse comes in. Yes, it costs him some summoners, but that's double buffs on a Gnar, which is going to make it really tough now for Jisu in top lane.
It was already tough with an Akali in the early game. Now he has to deal with mini Gnar with red and blue buff. We'll keep an eye on how he farms over the next sort of 5 or so minutes. But as it stands, the wave a little bit in Ziv's favor as Jisu's just going to use that mark of the assassin to farm.
Yeah, here it is again. So Karsa already knows that Levi is around there because he sees the scuttle. Levi's trying to clear out the blast cone to kind of protect his top laner there so that Karsa does not have that as a gank path, but both the lanes are pushing for the LMS. The collapse fully comes in from Ziv, from FoFo. They know they can go from this, flash over and get that kill. Very nice collapse from all of the LMS.
Really, really well played. So, early advantage, 800 gold. Assists on Karsa and FoFo. It cost a number of summoner spells, so if Levi can find an opportunity, that'll be good. He's forced to run, though. Gets that scuttle crab before leaping to safety. There's no further follow-up after that.
Yeah, definitely not. And it is one of the kind of limiting factors when you're playing this aggressive jungler. You want to be out there, you want to be doing stuff. If your lanes are losing, it's sometimes hard to actually be aggressive. You can't really get in the face of the Sejuani, even if you feel like you can win the duel. So that's something that is kind of working against them.
Yeah, you really need that support. If you're going to be playing either in the enemy jungle or, as you say, picking the fight, we'll keep an eye on like, how the lanes respond as well. Patrick, every time we look middle, FoFo is just running forward at those rune prisons and overloads over and over and over.
It certainly is, but one thing that is going to be kind of nice for the SEA is there is certainly an opportunity to capitalize on the fact that FoFo used both his summoners, and all he got for it was the assist. He did not get the double burst. He did not get the kill. So you have Patrick, who has the teleport still. He has his flash, and when he hits 6, there's certainly possibility to actually go for one of these kills with Levi coming in, with Kassadin Rift rocking forward, and we'll see how FoFo is going to be able to play around that, and if Karsa is able to keep him safe through vision.
Yeah, Patrick, of course, going to be playing the mana game a little bit later on. Got himself that Transcendence. More and more frequently, FoFo keeps spamming out those Connets, gets Patrick down to 50 HP. Flash not available, remember. FoFo can't chase any further. Would have been risky, and Patrick farming relatively well, but he stays alive.
It seemed like FoFo kind of underestimated how much damage he was going to do. He was actually stepping backwards, and then, I mean, he might have had Patrick with one more auto, one more E. Would have been very close, but Patrick does stay alive, still has his TP, and he's actually going to kind of greed it out to push one more wave. This is pretty risky, but he does have wards on both sides, so he's feeling comfortable that Karsa is not around, and we'll be able to probably get a pretty nice buy here. Has a good CS advantage, and that is something that is really working well for SEA. You've also got to give credit to Jisu, who, despite the fact that Gnar got double buffs, and he's in a melee versus range matchup with a weak early game on this champion, he's pretty well even on CS once he picks these up.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of the trading patterns here, so whether or not Ziv was playing super aggro or not. But like you said, you know, all kudos to Jisu. He's come back into lanes at Hextech Revolver and in a dash forward already with that Shadow Dance. Got himself a couple of stacks. Crescent Slash out, one more R. Forces the flash away from Ziv, and you've got to respect that damage.
Exactly, and that's what I was talking about in Champ Select. Once you have the ultimate, you save up the charges, and despite the fact that this guy has the jump away, he forced a flash, did not commit any summoners, and that does not bode well for Ziv in that 1v1, because once he gets Gunblade, that's another slow that's going to be coming in. That's even more access to the chase down, and you kind of need to punish Akali's early weak game, or she can start to really run wild.
Yeah, I don't think Ziv has watched any of Jisu's 1v1 matches on that murder bridge.
Yeah.
Because Jisu's been doing that over and over and over.
Got to get the scouting reports in.
Hey, you got to do it, dude. That's what this tournament's about. Anyways, bringing it to the lane. So Levi, Levi can look to gank either FoFo or Ziv. Well, FoFo is still flashless. If that lane can get set up, you've got level 6 on both of those solo laners. And Kassadin plus Kha'Zix or Akali plus Kha'Zix, anybody will get run down at this stage of the game.
Honestly, I think as far as the SEA position goes, the one concern is the bot lane turret, because this turret is extremely low, and this is only 8 minutes in. It looks like it's actually just dead right now, and that is what we had talked about as well. If you lose that bot lane turret too easily, which they do, that means that you're now not only losing the bot lane, Bebe is going to go and probably ruin the mid lane as well for Patrick. And Patrick is actually very happy farming this out, but Jisu getting aggressive here on Ziv.
Keeps chasing him down. No flash available. Support coming out from Levi. Jisu even sidesteps the Gnar to avoid getting knocked back. No further opportunity though as Patrick, he jumps forward with the Riftwalk, continues to chase FoFo down. Rune Prism will buy a few extra seconds. Riftwalk continues. Force Pulse comes out as well. 200 HP left to burn through. Flash forward. Patrick takes a tower shot. Now he's tagged minutes. Flashes to safety. Riftwalk will be a few seconds away. W Max, I believe, or not. W start at least from SwordArt. He gets the kill.
Yeah.
It is Max, yes.
Yeah, it's a W Max. I mean, it's so strong into these melee matchups. There's not a lot they can do to retaliate, and now that's kind I mean, it was pretty ballsy for Patrick to be going for that when the bot lane is missing and he does get punished. Yes, he forced both the summoners out of FoFo. He did get a flash out of Bebe as well, so there's some things going for him there, but this is where the game can start to fall apart because they do not have good wave clear besides the Sivir. Sivir lost her turret very easily because she does not have any range support with her. They could not contest the push, and this is where they need to try to slow down the game.
A lot. It's
lot.
nearly 10 minutes, and it's 2 and a bit thousand gold already. Tower first blood, 2 kills, first dragon. The LMS have got every single metric so far that indicates we're in the lead. Now, tower dive, set possibility, but Gnar just about to pop.
Doesn't have his ult though, remember. He doesn't actually have it because he spent it earlier, but Jisu taking so much damage from the turret.
Yeah, gonna use some of that bonus defensive stats underneath the Twilight Shroud, but the minions were not pushed quickly enough.
Yeah.
And Ziv, with the help of the tower, easily survives.
Yeah, definitely not a good setup there. Jisu went forward too early. The minions were not in. He took too much turret damage. It essentially means you have to just bail out, and then Levi saying, well, can I do something? Not really, so that's going to be a wasted opportunity there for them. But still, Jisu does feel like he is winning this 1v1. He is still strong, so if you can delay, things will be looking good. But it's actually going to be Bebe going up to the top lane and trying to siege on the Akali, which is another option because either way, you cannot really wave clear for either of these assassins very well.
No, there's not a lot that you can do, unfortunately, for Southeast Asia. So let's see whether or not they can find an opening. Levi's not had really any impact this early game. It felt like every time he was in the river, he found himself right in front of Karsa Sejuani. And look at the mini-map now. Great deep vision setup by Karsa in that top quadrant. That's going to allow Bebe and SwordArt to push for days. Thank you, observers, highlighting it. And it's going to give the LMS region all the information they need to play safely.
Certainly is, but Dantiz and Kra did see that Bebe was up top, so they're going to actually match this lane swap. I think that is certainly the right idea. You want to try to keep your Akali in this isolated 1v1 against the Gnar. Try to keep the Kassadin farming well against this Ryze, and you know they have given them the opportunity to do that for now, but it's going to come down to can Dantiz actually wave clear enough to kind of keep this safe. And Levi is coming down, so if Jisu can heal this up a little bit, they could actually look for it.
Oh, he's got himself the cutlass for some life steal.
Oh, nice
Very
with the
good
shroud.
dodge. Zip's now in trouble, gets jumped on by Levi, and Southeast Asia get the first.
Oh, that was just sick from Jisu, dodging out, but Bebe's shooting the ultimate down. Do they know it's coming? They should now.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh.
That was a bit anticlimactic, actually. But we had to follow it. We had to follow it.
I liked it. Props to the observers.
Nicely done indeed. All right, so Southeast Asia, they've got 1 on the board. There's 2 at risk of being caught out. And FoFo's coming for the dive. Look at that damage from the Klepto Ez. Already got Sheen and the Manamune starting to stack up. Another
they're
stack.
keeping in. Kassadin's coming up too.
But simply too late. Bebe takes a tower shot. That's the first kill of the fight. Hello, here comes Jisu. Dashes forward. Monsoon's going to buy a few seconds of time as Jisu goes invisible. Gets himself another. Hello,
reset.
This is Patrick. He gets one with the Rift Walk. Low on HP, forced to run for his life. Bebe's looking to run him down. Gets another kill for the LMS. Now Jisu forced to flash over the wall. The Rune Prison, not going to be enough. Gonna lock down Kra for a few seconds longer. Some support from Levi, but it's too little. It's too late. It's a 1 for 4 in favor of the LMS.
Yeah, GPL gonna lose so much there, and the turret now gonna be under pressure too. SwordArt doing a great job shutting down those assassins. They got the early kill Akali. Potential to actually go nuts in that fight, but kited out very well. Deny the initial engage there from the Janna, and the Monsoon plus the shields is enough to reset this. I actually think that Dantiz and Kra did about as well as they could delaying this. You know, actually going for the minions, realizing you need to push that out. Kra denies the engage there from Karsa, and Dantiz does clear out the wave, which buys them a bit of time here, but they're just so far behind the play. Their AD carry cannot really contribute too much. Patrick's already down to half HP when he comes in, and Bebe not even close to going down there. Look at how much healing comes out from the John ultimate, resetting the fight, and Bebe is just kind of allowed free reign here. He's able to chase them down, knock them out, and not much chance from there in the fight for GPL.
Unfortunately not, and as we come out of the replay, it's 6 kills to 2. FoFo with Bebe continue to run up to 3,000 gold lead. When we look at the minimap, Zib still defending down bots and Bebe pushing up top. And FoFo, no one really able to stand toe-to-toe with him. He's just shoving in that mid lane. It's all just gone really, really well for LMS. The early game has played out. The bottom lane won, I don't want to say as expected, but they took advantage of the situation right from that level 1.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly say if the Janna is going to go W max in any sorts of builds, I think it was a very intelligent adaptation going against an Alistar who, well, even if he tries to engage, you can deny it with Tornado. If he doesn't, he's just going to be getting poked out. So they kind of drafted a relatively weak lane into this, and unless Sivir can push that out, unless they can maintain the shove, you can't keep your turret alive. And that's really where the main problems have come from, because both the solo lanes were doing well in the 1v1. Levi was farming, things were going okay, but it's just got to be slow it down. It's the same game plan. We'll see if Ziv can get a kill here.
So much damage from Levi. That ultimate
Oh!
There's no armor for Ziv. He gets eaten alive, and that's a bug splat.
He even gets the flash there from Ziv too, which is going to mean he's so vulnerable to getting picked off in the side lanes. It's buying Jisu some more time. The bottom turret is low, but they're looking for another dive here on top side. 4 men and Dantiz. Ooh.
Well, that's a daunting situation to be in. The Realm Warp, in a 4-on-1, it'll at least allow a Mountain Drake, which is a pretty big pickup.
Yeah, it's actually being traded this time, so some good things going on for SEA. Because Levi got the pick, it means they get the turret on the bot side, they get the dragon on the bot side, they're pushing up in mid lane, so really not so bad for the SEA, all things considered. It's 1-for-1 across the map, it's a turret trade and a dragon, and they're pressuring mid lane here too. Actually looking pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad. SEA not out of it yet. It was starting to feel like it could be. It was starting to feel like that snowball was becoming a boulder that would be insurmountable. However, open map, couple of towers down, and actually some very squishy champions. If LMS don't keep up that vision, they can just get shut down. We saw how quickly Ziv died already.
Yeah, certainly, and I'm a little bit surprised, though. Well, Magic actually going aggressive here, but he had no vision to do it.
Yeah, a lot of damage being put down. He's going to Rift Walk over the wall. I think Flash used as well. And just that little kleptomancy for Bebe. He picks himself up. A potion is Shelly is summoned in the mid lane, and this bop should be enough to kill a tower.
Yeah, this is very smart. Go and actually knock down the mid lane turret. I was going to say I was a bit surprised that they were waiting so long to do this. The SEA team is collapsing, but the turret will already be gone. You can pressure the Kassadin, take him out of his comfort. You don't want him free farming because he will become a threat later. And although this is still a very big lead for LMS, things are going as planned. You need to keep pushing the pace. You need to keep up the pressure on these turrets because you don't want the assassins taking over in the side lanes.
Yeah, and of course, you cannot forget the 500, 600 CS Sivir win condition. I've seen it a few times where Sivers are allowed to wave clear for what feels like ever, and then all of a sudden that's Ricochet in the late game can just turn fights around.
I mean, hey, once you have a Shiv and an Essence Reaver, you're going to be able to wave clear very, very quickly and relatively safely. An auto or two plus your Boomerang will take down most of a minion wave, and it's not just a Sivir win condition this time around because Kassadin, hyperscaling champion, Kha'Zix, if you're spreading the map, has so much potential to catch someone out and assassinate them. So they do have to make sure that they're being very cognizant. They have to keep their vision up, and I would say LMS has done a fantastic job of that so far, but if you ever get caught off guard, you can die instantly.
Especially with a Dusk Blade of Drakthar side of Levi, as well as Warrior Enchant. Looking at the rest of the itemization here, nothing too surprising. Tankiness being built for Karsa. A little bit of a mix here for Ziv. Still not quite beefy yet, but he'll get there eventually.
And it looks like he is going for the more kind of split pushy build. He's likely building towards a Frozen Mallet. The Gunblade is a very big completion, though, for Akali and a huge power spike for this champion. It's a lot of added damage, gives you the additional slow for the chase down, plus some more burst on your combo. And if Ziv gets caught in a long lane, he really could get soloed out, especially there's even more threat when if Karsa's not there to defend him from Levi.
Do you feel like the split push build for Ziv's Gnar is the right choice against this group of assassins? We'll maybe go back to that in a moment or two as Patrick is now forced to defend against a two-man stack of LMS. If you look in the jungle, Bebe and SwordArt are also making their way up. So again, the map is kind of split, and True Shot Barrage used just to slow down Jisu.
Yep, push out that wave, and they have actually spotted Levi on a ward. Even though he has a pink around there was a clever ward to the left of that pink ward, which was covering the wraparound from the turret dive. That's the reason Karsa is here, and that's the reason Ziv is now moving forward. He's trying to bait them into making this dive happen, right into Karsa. See if they can make it happen. Jisu's going aggressive.
He is indeed. Uses that Twilight Shroud to escape. Managed to find Levi, who's level 11. Got that secondary upgrade and has used it already. is making his way now back into this bottom lane. They're really looking for a kill, Ezreal.
Yep, this is what you have to do. This is the way that they can win. You're not looking for a 5v5 against a Janna, against a Sejuani. You want to get picks. You want to snowball the game in the side lanes. That's how you delay the team. That's how you take objectives. You can't just bait and 5v5. You need to get a kill, spread the map, pressure turrets, and that's what SEA is looking to do. And as far as your earlier question about is it the best strategy for a Gnar, it's tough to know exactly how to itemize when there's a physical damage assassin and a magic damage assassin that are both going to be coming for you. You could say, well, build a Spirit Visage, try to survive and just kind of delay against the Akali. But, well, if Levi comes in here with the Dustblade and just is shredding you down, that's very risky. So he is building just max HP, which is going to be some general defense against both of them. And the Frozen Mallet does give him some survivability and ability to chase down Jisu if he kind of fills the all-in. So I think it's a reasonable choice. You could certainly make the argument to build straight up tanky and try to go after a team fight, but SEA probably doesn't want to give it to you anyway.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how you utilize that build as well, right? You got to play around your itemization choices and as well as the enemy choices. 10 minutes has passed since our last check-in on gold. It's still 4,000. So while LMS were off to a great start in the laning phase in the opening minutes, it's slowed down somewhat as you've now got to go past that outer ring of turrets, get deep into Southeast Asia's jungle and push the vision, push for inner turrets. It gets a lot more difficult, and Dantiz is just rotating between lanes, clearing it out so quickly.
And the big thing really for the LMS now is you've got the outer ring of turrets, set up Baron Vision, look to control that because there's nothing that shuts down a low wave clear split bushy team like the Baron.
All right, Realm Warp is going to throw the LMS squad into the backline. It's only FoFo that gets there. They get the flash out of Kra, Dantiz, and I believe Patrick. So 3 for Realm Warp. That's well worth.
That is super worth it. So they did get both the bot lane flashes there. Patrick's had just come up, but they're going to try to pressure on the Baron. If you can clear out the vision, if you can continually bait this, SEA only has so many ways to check it. If they have to face check and are pushed into that 5v5, it's very unlikely to look good for them. They're starting it up now. They're trying to force the TP out of Jisu, as shown on the bot side. They're going for the fight.
Already, Kra's in trouble. Unbreakable will buy some time, but how much time? Not enough. Bebe gets his first, looking for a second. It's in fact Karsa that gets the kill. Ziv throws up that ice boulder, won't find the slow, won't need it. Flash over the wall, gets a Gnar into the wall, and Southeast Asia are running for their lives. Levi sits inside the bush, throws down that Void Assault, buys some time, bursts down FoFo. Not enough for the kill. LMS get 4. And only Dantiz is left alive.
Yeah, Jisu probably should have just canceled that TP. I mean, it's 4 kills. It's going to be the Baron here as well. Dantiz is forced back. They're not even going to be able to get a trade. And honestly, this is really all LMS needs to blow the game wide open. They are really looking so far ahead at this point.
Well, LMS came out of the group stages undefeated. They looked fantastic in their games. And at 22 minutes, they've stamped near absolute control on the game. Zip, with his split push build, is going to look to run down Dantiz. Doesn't chase, though. And is to get on the hunt out of Dantiz. He escapes with his life. And when you take stock, Baron, 9,000 gold lead, there or thereabouts, 11-3. LMS can now just play the map game all they want.
Yep, Zip probably could have killed him, but showing respect to the fact that SEA could have other members there, but they go over the wall, they know some flashes are down. Kra already essentially chunked out of the fight, and then Jisu completes the teleport into the middle of everyone, knocked up into a root, instantly burst down. No chance to really do anything. It's full retreat for the rest of the SEA squad, and no real chance to win in the 5v5, especially one that starts that way. So it's definitely looking rough. The split push game has been completely shut down because the Baron buff means the LMS will group, they will siege, they will force you to team fight, and good luck team fighting into a better team fighting team when you're 8,000 gold behind.
And your only wave clear is Dantiz. So, or reliable wave clear is Dantiz. That's a much better term. Okay, so now I guess if you're a GPL fan, if you're a Levi supporter, as well as the rest of the squad, you start looking, right, how do they adjust? What do they change? It was a risky team composition to open this game, and it didn't work out from the lane phase.
You gotta see if there's anything on your desk. Maybe you could throw it over at the LMS players, then when they're trying to figure out what happened, you gank them, you take them down. Barring that, I'm not sure there's too many adjustments.
I'm fairly confident, Ezreal, that there is a rule or a line somewhere in the rule book that says you cannot physically assault the enemy team by throwing water bottles at them.
Maybe you could say you're lagging out, you know.
straight to excuses.
Yeah.
That's where we're at now.
I think that's where we're at.
Go from distraction to excuses.
Yeah.
Well, SEA have lost their inhibitor in the mid lane, and look at that, by the way. One single Q with Duskblade, as well as Iceborne Gauntlet and a fully stacked Mirror Mana. BB chunks down about 40% of Patrick's health.
Yeah.
That's difficult.
Yeah, it feels bad. Alternatively, you know, you can try for an all-in. That's basically your last hope. Pop the Sivir ult, hope that Croc can get a miracle combo, instantly kill someone, then maybe you have a chance to win the fight. But you have to get a pick immediately. If someone on LMS does not die instantly, you will not win the fight.
That's not how you win the fight, Southeast Asia. Kra is already down. It's a double kill for Ziv as Levi is cut down where he stands on the hunt by Dantiz to try get to safety. But he now dies to FoFo. Where is the rest of Southeast Asia? Jisu's trying to pull the wave ever so slightly. Ziv hops over the wall. You can't hop far enough to chase a recall, my friend. LMS just going to push you with these super minions. This looks to be game one.
Yeah, this does look to be game one. It was a cool strategy coming out of SEA, but if you fall behind, it's going to look rough. And maybe a little too much greed in the laning phase. They're trying to get engaged and trying to survive and trying to draft all these assassins, but LMS with a beautiful game, controlling it start to finish.
Flawless performance from the LMS. Bebe leads the way with his TPA, Kleptomancy Ezreal. And the rest of the LMS squad, as big brothers in the region, strike down GPL 1-0.
Really impressive play. There's just not much to criticize from this LMS team, from the lanes they picked, the composition they drafted, how they executed the adaptations for the WMAX Janna against this kind of a usable lane.
Yep.
That was really the key, and I have to give a lot of credit to Bebe and SwordArt for unlocking the bottom lane. That cracks open the map and really tears apart the SEA strategy.
Yeah, and it just, Levi never got into it. Never got a chance. He ran into Karsa time and time again in the early game, and what a different performance here from the GPL squad. They come up against significantly more familiar faces in the LMS players versus who they were playing in the group stages. And all of a sudden, it starts to fall apart at the seams. So let's see what they can do off stage because they have to bounce back.
Yeah, they certainly do. And I mean, they had to know it was a bit of a risky draft, you know, going with all these assassins. There's high highs, but there's very low lows, right? As soon as you start to lose, you don't have the fallback patterns, you don't have the wave clear, you don't have any safety on these picks. And, you know, Levi, to his credit, did get some picks in the side lanes, you know, did take down Ziv a couple times, but when all your lanes are shoved in, the other team has more access to ward, more access to respond to your invades. You're so limited on options as a jungler with 3 losing lanes, or at least lanes that are being pushed in. It is fair to say that, you know, Jisu was maybe winning his lane or doing well there, but still, he's going to get shoved in, and that limits you so heavily.
It does, and something that I've seen a little bit of discussion on socials and Reddit and things like that is how these guys are, you know, from 3 different regions, speak 3 different languages. The common tongue is fairly broken English from what I'm led to believe. And trying to break it down, how to play this composition when losing, when behind, it is very, very difficult. Unfortunately, GPL couldn't pull it off. We'll see what they do in game 2. Before that, though, let's send it over to the analyst to break down how LMS won game 1.
Thank you very much. Quick shot. Victory in favor of LMS here to kick off the day. I want to take a look at Champion Select immediately, though, because some very interesting things coming through for the side of Southeast Asia here in the draft.
So they said yesterday that they weren't doing very well in scrims, and they decided we're going to try like solo queue. They beat NA with that. So today they're like, you know what? We're going to do the same thing again. Everybody pick assassins, so that everybody grabbed an assassin, and that is difficult to execute versus a team like the LMS. Like I said in the opening, you know, they've been doing these standard team comps with a front line, protecting their back line, and we saw how it plays out.
I mean, I think it still made a lot of sense, especially the Akali last pick. I think was really smart for Jisu up in the top lane. He could try and win that lane. And
it made a lot of sense.
He could have won that lane. Kassadin as well against Ryze is not a bad matchup specifically for Patrick. So I think the solo laners were set up to do okay. Problem is in solo queue, it's rare you have 3 lanes doing really well. So in the bottom lane, that Sivir Alistar, not a fan. I don't know why you pick Alistar this early. I don't know why you pick Sivir, why you give Ezreal, like...
I have some suspicions. I have a feeling that it's just because they need to cover for Dantiz and Kra down there, and especially because they're looking across from someone like
That's a horrible
SwordArt.
cover.
Well, yeah, I understand.
They lost lane.
It didn't work, but I think that was because I agree with you. There's no reason to rotate Alistar that highly. It does work as a takeaway for SwordArt, but you had Xerath up and available. So either the teams are gambling saying no one's going to pick Xerath because it has been first pick worthy, and then you also ban Leona and Braum. So you priority pick the Alistar, you ban 2 more hard engaged supports, and you're just trying to take the teeth out of SwordArt.
So some questionable picks, perhaps. perhaps for Southeast Asia, but there is logic behind at least those solo lane
Yeah,
picks
for
that
sure.
came in later in the draft.
I mean, I want them to continue this style because
Right.
I want to see, you know, the success early and try and snowball and get a victory that way because this is an All-Stars, you know, game. This is an All-Stars tournament.
Oh, is that where we are?
Just in
I
case,
thought it was Wales.
Take a look behind you there, buddy.
All right, but hey, let's take a look at a play. Comes 12:30 into the game. The LMS 4 for 1 in the top lane. This one brought to you by Acer Predator.
And like I said, I think unfortunately they were covering for the bottom lane, and Dantiz may be showing why right now. The spell shield wasn't used to its fullest ability. Fish in a barrel up there.
This is the kind of, you know, play that actually loses you the game straight up, because not only did the bot lane die, they also then have Jisu TP in and Patrick roaming up, and they also end up dying. At this point, Jisu had almost completed his Gunblade. He was about to just destroy the 1v1 lane, and then he gets forced top lane with TP, and he dies as well, and the whole game is lost.
But here's the thing, I'm not going to put all of this on, you know, the top lane going wrong or the bottom lane going wrong, because Levi made the
I'm putting on
decision
the bot lane.
to invade when all of the lanes were pushing. He got called out, he got hit with first blood, and the thing is yes, that first blood didn't necessarily snowball to the bot lane getting destroyed, but they were getting shoved under. If Levi had instead directed his attention, worked with that Alistar, and tried to push back on Bebe and SwordArt, maybe it's a different picture.
Alistar did more damage to champions than Sivir.
See, that's not how it's supposed to be.
That is not how
That is
it's
my
supposed to be.
analysis here.
I love it. No, it was fantastic analysis. So as you've identified the bot lane being the weak link or the issue here for Southeast Asia,
Yeah, yes.
and we mentioned perhaps, you know, this idea that you need to cover for them. What do they draft in game 2 to make sure that that bot lane is entirely covered for while the solo laners can gain whatever advantages they can?
Tom Kench. I think you
Kench?
take the
Yeah.
Kench and you actually prioritize Patrick and Jisu's champion pool. I think it was good that Jisu was able to pull out the Akali, so obviously he had something in his back pocket. He felt safe getting the last pick, but get Patrick something big. Again, the Xerath fell through. There were 2 bans on the mid lane in the first draft phase, so I don't think you priority pick Alistar again.
Yeah, honestly, I think you're focusing too much on lane phase as well. We already saw in the skirmish there the Janna ultimate denying Akali
That's
very
why you're supposed to
easily.
stay in the 1v1
there are a
lane.
lot of tools here that are be drafting for team fights and these sorts of things from the LMS. So once you get step number 1 down, then we'll talk about how they can actually get step number 2.
Also, don't give Ezreal over.
There's
like no reason to do that.
Very, very strong champion at the moment. Do you feel that this game was entirely winnable with the composition for Southeast Asia had they purely avoided any of those team fight situations?
I mean, in a perfect world where you, again, just don't have to team fight at all, sure that Akali can take over. The problem is everyone can always run to Baron at 20 minutes, start the Baron, and then you're kind of forced to TP in, and then there is a team fight. So I don't think they had the comp that could just, like, destroy LMS's, like, team fight. So they had to completely outplay through solo laners. And again, the Akali was getting rolling at least a little bit.
Right.
But the bot lane was losing so hard that it just didn't matter. And then Akali has to TP into fights, and then it's all over.
Again, I agree with the mentality behind it. It's like a no-hold barred, like everyone's just grabbing their own champion and they're all super self-sufficient. They can jump in and out. They don't need to rely on their teamwork. So from that aspect, it makes sense, especially if the team's having trouble communicating. They don't necessarily have the biggest or the greatest synergy because they haven't been there that long. But again, holistically, it's not a great comp.
All right, well, we are in the best of 3, so Southeast Asia does go over to the blue side, so they'll have at least a different side to operate from. Guarantees us some differences in champion select. We'll see if Southeast Asia can bounce back when they meet the LMS for game 2 after a quick break.
Levi continues to run. Here comes FoFo. Double buffs available. FoFo not going to pick up first blood because it's Ziv that does with the boomerang.
卡利交闪了，1720 ，nice。
还是在中往上，卡利斯往上了，他在中
，OK，
他应该在这。
nice，我们都没投啊。
Bebe gets it first, looking for a second. It's in fact Karsa that gets the kill. Ziv throws up that ice boulder, won't find the slow, won't need it, as Levi is cut down where he stands on the hunt by Dantiz to try get to safety, but he now dies to FoFo.